for joining us. As mentioned, we're here with Brad Rogers. I had a blank there. Crazy. Brad Rogers, CEO of Red, White, and Bloom, and we were, discussing what we wanted to talk about, and we're going to talk about vaping.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's
The vape
got
crisis,
the headlines.
the vape scare. What's going on? What do you feel? And
Well, look, I think there's nothing but. I'll tell you right now, in Michigan right now, where we've got 12 operating stores right now, we've seen zero drop in vaping consumption. So, I think the hype is bigger than the actual reaction within our market, at least anyhow. We've seen, nothing but questions for sure, and we're ready. And so, I think what the vaping scare really does is actually validate the fact that compliant, good quality suppliers are the resource to be sought out. So I think that's for us. It looks like a good option, and to the street at least anyhow.
so you do believe it's being blown out of proportion?
Oh yeah.
One of the things we were mentioning earlier is maybe this forces us to a certain extent to look into how we consume cannabis, how we use it, and how we use it responsibly.
Yep.
What do you think are some interesting practices for people to take into consideration when approaching cannabis use? Because here's the thing, a lot of people now go like, oh no, vaping, no more, ever. Like, I brought up a vape yesterday and someone's like, oh no, I don't do that anymore. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and so I think that's going to go away. I think once we understand the illicit market products are cut with bad products, so the vitamin E's, the PGs, and so once you get to a compliant level and something standardized, I think it'll normalize and it'll all come back with respect to that consumption method, at least anyhow. It's a convenient method that everybody seems to have adopted, and it's something that really hasn't gone away in our market, at least anyhow.
Maybe we can transition to something else. So you're quite bullish on Illinois since we're here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
So
what are you
Illinois,
seeing? What are you feeling?
So Illinois it's a really interesting facility that we have. We've got 3.6 million square feet in Granville, Illinois. We just finished our deal, and so we've got 80 acres effectively under glass doing CBD production as we speak right now. So we've got two really interesting strains. We've got a high yield CBD strain that we've selected for the cultivar, and so when you look at CBD, you think of it as biomass and that's it, but that's not what we're doing. We're treating it as a real ag crop, and so that ag crop has multiple streams. And so when you think about an analogy would be apple production. So you take apples and you dump it into this big river, and it all gets sort of analyzed by lasers, and it goes into apple sauce and apple juice, and and then you got your A grade, B grade, C grade, and then you get your $4 whole food apple. That's how we're treating. It's effectively how we're treating the ag crop of CBD production. So when you look at the biomass, yes, that's one component of it, but there are also high value streams that you can put CBD hemp products into. So you've got flash frozen, you've got live resins, you've got the bud structure that you can actually consume itself. And what we've done with the 3.6 million square feet, and what we've done in Canada before, was standardize this crop. And so when you standardize a crop, you get consistency. And so when you get 15% cannabinoid content per gram every single time, that's really what is a great input or ingredient and or standardized product that you can put in multiple streams. And so when you look at the high value pieces that you can go into with just the hemp crop, it's phenomenal. And of course, what we're also doing is going after a cannabis license for that facility as well. And so, we're starting with the $200,000 application, or 200,000 square foot application, and then we're going to look at spreading from there. So we're talking to a couple of players in Illinois right now with licenses, with distribution that we can sort of tap into as well. So that's pretty darn exciting. We've got 300 plus employees down there, and we're looking to grow some more as well.
So why such a strong interest in Illinois? Why are you so bullish in Illinois? You've looked, we've discussed this before, you looked at many other markets. And
absolutely.
Why Illinois? What makes it special to you?
So our strategy when we went into Michigan specifically was, that basically our beachhead was Michigan. We've got, like I said, our operating entities right there. We're on a run rate of about $130 million this year just in the Michigan market alone. That's without our grow. And we took advantage of what was a changing regulatory framework. And when regulatory frameworks change, there's opportunity. And so we read the future of what that was going to be, and very similar to what we did in Michigan, we're looking at that in Illinois. And so ag crop friendly state. The facility that we chose was a phenomenal facility. We were in it for 4 months. We've harvested 60,000 pounds out of it in 4 months. So the time we've had it in possession, we've actually executed more than what we ever thought we would. And so the strategy of going into Illinois was taking advantage of a national play, so a hub and spoke, on a big box. And so when you think about big boxes like Walmarts and CVS's and the Targets and the people that are actually looking at listing these products in their stores, you want to give them an assurance of quality and assurance of standardized quality, and make sure that they are confident in your ability to execute and supply. And so, the best and the worst day of your life is getting a Walmart order. I've done it before. I've been in Walmart, Target, Costco, Carrefour, all the hypermarkets around the world. And so you have to be able to manage that supply chain. If you don't have consistent supply and quality, that's a big problem. And nothing kills a brand faster in this industry than a recall. And so when you have the consistency of supply like we're able to under 80 acres of 3.6 million square feet under glass that we can control, that's a big key component to strategy for us, at least.
Yeah. So you're, as we've also discussed in the past, you're very U.S. focused.
Yes, red, white, and bloom.
Unescapable. Now,
Yes.
which other markets are you looking at? Which other states do you find interesting, and why?
Well, I like the med states first, because that is, to me, the high bar. I love regulatory frameworks and compliance pieces that are high. It's
a weird thing to say.
I know, but you know what?
It really
it sets a standard. And so when you look at what I did in Canada, we set the bar. We had a label claim on every single product that went out the door. And so I'll talk about this tomorrow during my session. But what's important to me is standardized quality. And so if you can have a 30% cush every single time you walk into a dispensary from me, you know your experience, you know what you're going to get. And so in the medical world, that's very, very important for when you go to doctors to say, hey, this is cannabis, and when you have 1,000 milligrams of activated content in a brown bottle that looks like a pharma grade material, then that conversation changes. Then you can dose, titrate, gauge efficacy. And so that actually stratifies into a rec play as well. And so you can play both sides of it when you have pharma grade material, standardized quality going into every product that you make. That sets a brand standard beyond that of anybody else in this whole market. And that's what we're bringing to America from what we've already done in Canada.
So you touch on medical a little bit, you touch on recreational as well. You're
Absolutely.
not one to shy away from recreational use. And
No,
this is something
we love that.
we discussed, and it's a fun one that
Yep.
while many people are obsessed with wellness, and it's all about wellness and CBD, and many kind of look down on recreational use. You don't. You're very welcoming of that, and we did discuss that.
Absolutely.
Well-being is definitely a part of wellness.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think there's something what I call I call it a mind escape. And so alcohol has had a lock on what I call the mind escape market forever. I mean, there's been no other option, legal option, to get away from life, I guess, to a certain degree. Take the edge off when you get home, and so that rec product really kind of makes that available to people, and that's almost stratifies into a wellness aspect as well. So when you look at the endocannabinoid system, and we won't get too scientific about cannabis, but when you think about how it affects your body, it does everything but affect your CNS, your central nervous system. That's why people haven't died from it. And so, that I think is a great option to alcohol. I mean, alcohol's still great. I had a glass of wine last night.
So the last one, where do beverages play into all of this, right? Like, some people love them, some people hate them, some people say they taste like bong water, or other people say it's a future. It's like, because it's kind of an activity. Drinking is something that is kind of socially accepted and
Absolutely.
welcome as an activity.
Look,
Where
you're
do
going to
cannabis
find
beverages play in?
cannabis in so many verticals, and there's so many end states for cannabis because you've got the indicas, you got the sativas, and you got the the designer cannabinoids that are coming out, the CBGs, the CBVs, the CBNs, and all these things that are now coming to fruition that have some sort of indicative benefit of cannabis. And so, we're just scratching the surface right now, and I'm really excited about getting into these other areas and these other verticals that have billion-dollar possibilities. You got beverage, you've got food, you've got pharma, you got wellness, you got rec, you've got so many things that are available to be exposed here, and we're just at the beginning here. This is the end of prohibition as we know it.
Woo. Well, exciting times ahead. The man behind the company, Brad, you've met him now. Go check out his presentation tomorrow to learn about the actual company.
Thank you.
Give it up for Brad.
Or should I say I saw, I conquered, I came.
Thank you, man.
This little chico on fire, he ain't no lie.